Domino's. Please welcome CTM.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Good. Okay, that's a little bit of energy. I like that. All right. So, again, my name is Christopher Thomas Moore, better known as CTM. My title really doesn't mean a lot, right? SVP of Customer and Store Experience. What is that? So, I have a few different organizations within my team. So, all of our e-com, all of our digital, anything that's digital facing our customer sits within my organization. Our loyalty program, international digital marketing, all of the innovation groups, so autonomous delivery and all of our kind of innovative in-store experiences were within my organization. Our global products and call center. I was like, what's the last group? So all of those teams really that touch and impact the experience that our customers have at Domino sit within my team. So today I wanted to talk about the topic of innovation. It's a really big and important conversation for Domino's. It's something that we've been doing for a long time. So for those that don't know about Domino's, we're over 60 years old, have over 400,000 employees globally. We sell over 1 million pizzas a day. That's a lot of dough. And so, we're a big brand, #1 pizza brand in the world. So we were established, in Michigan, in Ypsilanti, Michigan, which is literally a few blocks away from where our corporate headquarters are in Ann Arbor. And we were like the pioneers of delivery, right? We already started innovating like at the beginning of the brand, like food delivery in 1960 was, a byproduct of Domino's. And again, we're the #1 pizza brand in the world, but that didn't happen overnight, right? That innovation journey for Domino's, it's been a long one. It's been a 60-year journey that we've been going through to continue to innovate and grow brand. And it really, for us, from a digital standpoint, started when we launched this thing in 2008 called the Tracker, right? Before that, when you would order a pizza, you just pray. I ordered it. I think it's going to get here when I need it. I don't know. It's happening. And so the Tracker unlocked really that black box of pizza ordering, right? And it was really pushing in on that tension of ensuring that our customers were prepared and we were setting proper expectations for them upon the delivery of the order. And that kind of really started a journey of us leaning into our customer and really leaning into the tensions that our customers face day in and day out. And so in 2010, we had a real ballsy statement of our product sucked. And we had to do something about it. So this little video will show you what we did back then.
In 2010, after serving the same pizza for 50 years, Domino's decided it was time for a change. But a brand new pizza can't be sold with the same old advertising. The work had to address the elephant in the room, that everyone thought Domino's pizza tasted like, well, how about we let them tell you?
Domino's tastes low quality and forgettable.
Domino's pizza crust to me is like cardboard.
Instead of hiding the hate,
totally void of flavor,
they embraced it.
There comes a time when you know you've got to make a change. You've got to move forward.
This is what's driving us. This is what's making us want to get better.
So we let the entire story unfold online in a 5-minute documentary. The campaign generated a lot of conversation, and the new pizza is shaping up to be one of the most successful product launches in Domino's 50-year history.
May God bless America, and may God bless Domino's new pizza recipe.
So back then, in 2010, when we leaned into this, it really was about listening to the voice of our customer. And it was a ballsy statement, like who stands up and says, like, our product sucks and we know it, right? And we want to make it better. But it really was a catalyst that changed a lot for our brand in how we thought about our relationship with our customers and how we thought about innovation. And it paid off in big, big ways, right? This is one of the sales trackers in the store, and they didn't have any room on the chart, so they had to write on the ceiling. Because sales blew up after we were really honest and transparent with our customers and leaned into tensions that they had. Right, and so for 10 years after that, we were the #1 leading QSR brand from same-store sales growth standpoint, beating all the other players, right? And it really, again, it wasn't just that innovation or that idea, it really was the start of many. So let's take a walk down memory lane and talk about some of these innovations. And really the core of them really sit with the obsession, fanatical obsession with our customers and how can we improve their lives and the experiences that they have with the brand. So 2015, we launched our first vehicle, we call it the DXP. And this vehicle was intentionally designed for the purpose of delivering pizza. So it has containers for holding the drinks. It has a warmer in the back. I mean, it's a pizza mobile, literally. And we have this all throughout the country, leaning into the tension that no one likes a cold pizza, right? You want a hot pizza that's like perfectly made just for you. And these vehicles help make sure that we were delivering on the product promise that we were providing. Then moving on in 2016, we launched what we call our Anywhere solution, providing the accessibility of Domino's anywhere. So you could order it through Alexa, through Google, through your smartwatch. You could text a pizza emoji and order a pizza. You can order on Slack. I think we get one order a year through Slack, but well, you could do that. It's an option. And so opening up all these different channels and making pizza accessible in places that it wasn't before. Then we got with Ford and started really leaning in on autonomous delivery and autonomous vehicles. And so this was important for us because we knew, even back in 2017, that autonomous vehicles were going to be the future for our world. And so for us, it's really important for us to understand how do these new technologies influence the behaviors of our store team members, as well as the experiences that our customers have. And so we partnered with Ford and built this autonomous vehicle called Dave. And it was huge for a pizza brand to have internally within our organization individuals that understand LiDAR, understand how this technology works, so that we could be really understanding how we mold that technology to work for our brand. And so it was the start, and we'll talk a little bit later about the current autonomous vehicle that we have. And then in 2018, we launched Hotspots. It was the first opportunity for you to have pizza delivered wherever you wanted it, from a park to a beach to the middle of Central Park. Like, you could get pizza anywhere through these hotspots where we created hundreds of thousands of new pizza locations, pulling in on the tension of, again, making our product more accessible than just your home or to an office. And then in 2019, we had another very ballsy statement that we made. And this was fun because this was one of my first campaigns that I launched with the brand. And this was called Points for Pies. And I'm going to play the commercial and then we'll talk about it.
At Domino's, we love pizza as much as you do. That's why we're giving you Piece of the Pie rewards points for eating any pizza from anywhere.
Pizza from here?
Yep.
How about from here?
That's right.
Homemade pizza?
I guess.
Homemade pizza?
That's a little better.
What about anchovy?
Any toppings.
New York style? Deep dish.
Any pizza.
What?
Download the Domino's app, scan your pizza, and you could earn 10 Piece of the Pie rewards points toward free Domino's pizza.
So this was another really fun brand activity, and really it's centered around this celebration of pizza. So for those that did not participate, which is shame on you, we were giving out free Piece of the Pie rewards points for anyone that ordered a pizza. And it didn't have to be our pizza. Anyone that purchased a pizza, made a pizza, even that dog toy, you could scan that and get points. Like, anyone that was just loving pizza, we were just divvying out points like Oprah giving out cars. And it really was, again, about the celebration for the love of pizza in an environment in 2019, not that different than today, that was very divisive. And so we'll talk a little bit more about those tensions in a second when we talk about how we got to that idea. And so that's like the build up to 2020, and then like everything goes in the trash after that, right? Because the whole world had changed. And so we had to rethink and really lean in onto specific values that helped make sure that we were still continuing to innovate in a very changing, dynamic world that we were in. And so these are the three things that I view had really helped us and continue to help us stay grounded from an innovation standpoint and be able to have the agility within our organizations to build and design new innovations on a regular basis. So the first one is the question of that I ask you is like, is your organization truly built for agility? And one of the things that I think was the saving grace for us, because this was all of our marketing campaigns are right there, those blue bags. Like, we had to throw everything away because it just wasn't relevant anymore. It wasn't the conversations that people were wanting to have. No one had on masks in our commercials. Like, all the footage that we had was just no longer relevant, right? And so we had to start fresh. And those type of pivots are really hard for a big brand like Domino's to do at the kind of drop of a dime. But we had to if we wanted to survive. And the part that I think made us really have the ability to do that, which a lot of people talk about this, but I honestly, in my entire career, have not seen an organization frame it in the same way that Domino's has, but it's the alignment of goals and objectives within your organization. So all of my peers, we all have the same goals and objectives. We share the same targets, we share the same measures, we're all kind of striving for the same thing. And why that was really important at the beginning of the pandemic was that, like I said, stuff had to change and pivot, and we were able to pivot very quickly because all of our goals changed. It wasn't one department that was now facing new things. Because of the fact that we needed to focus on safety of delivery, addressing customer concerns, we rewrote our objectives for our organizations, and they were all the same so that we could all pivot at the same time. That, to me, I think was monumental in helping us move through the organization, because otherwise, as I've seen in prior organizations I've been in, you have all these collisions, you have all of these disagreements as far as what the focus is, but having full alignment, like complete parity of goals and objectives across technology, analytics and insights, marketing, innovation, helped us be able to pivot really quickly. And we had to do a few pivots. One, we had to figure out contactless delivery. So we had to invent this pizza box that we call the contactless delivery pizza pedestal, long ass name. But it was built so that we didn't have to just throw your order on the ground. Like, that seemed really bad. So we wanted to do something, but we did this in 2 weeks, like design it, go through the whole engineering process and get it in our supply chain so that we could send it to stores. Neuro, we had to continue to lean in on autonomous delivery in a world where contactless was a reality. And so launching a test in the middle of the pandemic in Houston was part of that effort so that we can continue to lean in on that technology. And then reinventing carryout and offering a new solution called Carside Delivery, where we could walk out to the customer and bring their order to them because we weren't allowed to have people in many of our stores based off of restrictions in markets. So all of these innovations happened within a matter of about 2 months that we were able to get these all launched. And that was because we shifted the entire organization because we all had the same goals and objectives. Next item, are your messages relevant? Like, what's the relevancy of your messages? And for us, innovation, we feel like, is advertising, and it can be advertising if the message is relevant and leaning into those customer tensions. So for relevancy, the first thing that we really start to think of are tensions. And so we do this tension exercise that I'm gonna walk you guys through. And so for us, a tension is like breaking up the coiling and discomfort that exists both in our society, in our customers' lives, and within the brand. And so when we think of tensions, we really think about them in 3 spectrums. So we think about, what are the customer tensions? What are the issues that are facing our customers day in, day out? Might not have anything at all to do with our brand, right? But what are those things that they are faced with day in, day out? Next, what's happening culturally? What's happening in the environment around them that's influencing their behaviors? And last, what's happening in our category or with the brand? And so that Points for Pies program, where we were just giving out points for the celebration of pizza, this is how we got there, by doing this tension map. First, the cultural insight was in 2019, it was a very divided country that we were living in. Ish now too, but that was definitely a huge insight then in 2019. From our consumers, they were just sick of all of the division. They wanted something happy, Every time you turned on the TV, it was really scary. And then from a category standpoint, we knew that there are tons of options. There's like, in pizza, there's no loyalty. All the pizza QSR knows that, right? Like, people are eating all kinds of different pizza. And so we know that that's the case. And then the heart of it was the fact that we love pizza, and that's part of our brand DNA. And so why not just celebrate the love for pizza across the board, since there are so many options, and since we want something that brings some joy and levity in our lives. So that's how that was birthed. But it was about leaning into those tensions that existed in those 3 different areas. Also, relevancy could happen through interesting brand activations. And so last May, we partnered with the Stranger Things franchise to launch a really fun campaign. And what we launched was the ability to order pizza with your mind. And so, relevancy sits in a few different spectrums, right? There's relevancy to the customer, right? What is the relevancy there? This is, pop culture phenomenon, one of the biggest titles within the Netflix organization. And so there's definitely a lot of viewership and people that are connected with this title. But secondly, we couldn't just do any standard activation. We had to think about how is this relevant to our brand and what we do in the DNA of our brand. And so ordering a pizza with your mind sounded like that was something Domino's would do. And so what we did and what that means is that we launched an app where you could go through a fully immersive experience, going to the Hawkins laboratory and go through a process of all of the different layers of a Stranger Things experience. But the end result was that you could look at your phone, look at that pizza box, and place an order by just looking at your phone with no other activity. It was really fun and exciting, and it really fit within our DNA, and it was another opportunity to drive connection and relationships with our customers. Talked about this already, so we'll move on. And it was a 360 campaign, so we launched the app, we did this retro pizza box that we launched at the same time, and then had in-store activations and things like that. But it was a very relevant message, very relevant story, both to the DNA of our brand of doing a mind ordering app and like leaning in on digital, but also this really pop culture phenomenon of Stranger Things. So the last thing, I'm not sure if I'm way over, but the last thing I want to talk about is disruption. So are you a promoter in your organization of disruption, and how are you shaking things up? And so the first example of like a disruptive mentality was another thing that we launched in the middle of the pandemic. So even though the pandemic was going on, we knew we needed to continue to innovate on our food. And so at the time, I was over all of the menu and food as well, and we launched 2 new products, a cheeseburger pizza and a chicken taco pizza. But here's a little bit why we launched it.
Domino's know about tacos and burgers? As delivery experts, we know they shouldn't be delivered like this.
Thanks for the soggy tacos spread across the bottom of my delivery bag.
The burger was wilted.
We hate to see anything delivered poorly.
We wanted to give you a burger that is designed to be delivered.
A taco that was made to deliver right.
Taco from Domino's?
What? Oh my.
The new Domino's cheeseburger pizza.
This is our new chicken taco pizza.
Now the best way to get a taco or burger delivered is to get a Domino's pizza.
It's not a soggy taco.
So a few points. One, this was shot before the pandemic, so the drivers didn't have masks, so those were all CGI masks that we had to add later. It was like the crazy things that we did to save the footage. But if you didn't hear it, the start of this was like leaning into this tension of all of these horrible delivery experiences that people have been receiving through third-party deliveries services that just weren't ideal from a product standpoint, right? Like cold fries, like soggy burgers, things like that. And so we wanted to lean in on that tension and really deliver on the promise of something that was meant to be delivered, and nothing delivers better than pizza. And so we invented our own versions of those items, right? Our chicken cheeseburger pizza, and my favorite was our chicken taco pizza. And really it was to head a punch towards the aggregators, right? And to identify with the customer tension that exists as far as the experiences that they were receiving. And so in true Domino's fashion, we didn't double down on that a few years later with a surprise freeze program that we launched. And this was really pushing at the tension of the fees that individuals get from delivery solutions. And instead of the fees, we were giving out surprise frees. And so we were giving out free pizzas, lava cakes, stuffed cheesy bread, all kinds of different items. And we gave out millions of dollars worth of free products just as a surprise and delight. And again, to push against that tension of the experiences that individuals were receiving through our comp set in the food aggregators. So I think I'm on time, hopefully, but and hopefully if I'm early, we'll have more time for Q&A. But I wanted to leave with our tenets, and these are tenets that we hold true as an organization. These are things that we lean into. We talk about these on a regular basis, and they're kind of some of the guiding principles for as we think about the business and the things that we're gonna do. So one is embracing the revolution, right? We know that the world around us is changing, and we feel like it's important for Domino's to be part of that. And we need to be in the revolution as it's going on, because we need to understand how these new aspects are actually shaping our brand, and what can we do by being early adopters to help form them so that they actually do work and are beneficial for both our customer and our team members and franchisees. So embracing that revolution, getting in early, is really important for us. Uncommon honesty. There's like nothing more uncommonly honest than saying your product sucks, right? And so we really try to lean in on those areas where we can be very transparent with our customers, and we see time and time again that those things actually work really well. Defining the why. We don't do things just to do them. There has to be a story, there has to be a reason, there has to be a hypothesis behind it. A lot of data and analytics happens within our organizations to validate any and everything that we do. It's actually one of our largest organizations under our global market team is our analytics and insights team, because they're always combing through data to help us understand the benefit of what it is that we're doing. But they also are there to help us predict the benefit of something that we want to do and help triangulate what that benefit might be to the brand. Taking bold action, standing out there. Sometimes you're out there by yourself. Like, we haven't seen a lot of brands like push at the food aggregators and some of those tensions in the ways that we have, but we're okay with that. We think that it's a valuable conversation to have. And so sometimes that bold action means that you're alone. Challenging everything, again, going back into that data element, we're constantly reviewing and analyzing everything that we do, the benefit of every media impression that we're running, and doing lift studies against those. We're running hundreds of A/B tests on our website every year. And we do all of that so that we can understand the benefits of the things that we're changing and the things that we're adding to the brand. Being innovation ready, we amp up innovation with our organizations. We actually have teams that solely focus on how we're innovating as a brand, both within the customer experience as well as within our team member experiences. But also having those alignments of goals across those teams ensure that if we need to pivot, we can pivot and continue to push the innovations that we want. And then last is that innovation is advertising. A lot of what I showed you were innovations that we had in the brand that were big brand campaigns for us. And so we lean on innovation to not only benefit the experience, but also tell the story that drives acquisition as well. And lastly, we're a work in progress brand. We're continuing to grow, change, and find new experiences. And so we accept failure, and we have to, in order to continue to push the brand and our team members to think harder and think bigger. So that's it. That's me, and that's the Innovation Ready presentation. Q&A? All right.
CTM, thanks as always for that. Now it's your turn. If you have questions, and this applies throughout the next 3 days, please raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you, and please stand and tell us who you are and who you're with, so we all get to know you. I think we've got one starting back there.
First of all, you win the award for the suit for the day. That's just killing it. So Brandon, I'm with Ground Truth. So you guys have a lot of big brand initiatives that might not actually show like a KPI that's strong. Like, you use Slack as the example, right? 1 order a year. So how do you balance those things? The ability to like be on brand, do something bold, something interesting that'll get attention, but then argue internally that it's actually worth continuing to do, even if it doesn't like chalk up in the numbers in a clear way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really kind of getting to the heart of the benefit and the responsibility and role that things have, right? So we will launch certain campaigns that are only for the purpose of a national window, right? And then those activities, then our tools will die out right after that window's concluded. But there are other things that we launch that really are going to be long-standing in the brand. And it's something that is really important to us. Like, we try to focus on things that more have more long-term value than short-term value, because we just feel like if we're going to put all that energy into it, like, let's get the full life out of that. But like things like Slack, which sits under our umbrella of Anywhere, that whole solution is not a massive ordering channel for us, right? As one would expect. But the halo that provides to the brand of being smart, tech-focused, and a leader in digital is more important than it's the cost of maintaining that one asset, if that makes sense. So it's really the value equation that we put against every solution that we have and what the role is that it plays. I don't know why I'm pointing. I have no mic to give. She's coming in the back.
Okay. Hi, I'm Julie Wade with Taziki's Mediterranean Cafe. And the commercials that y'all ran about a year or so ago about the third-party delivery, I can't remember the specifics of the campaign, but you were encouraging people to order directly from their local restaurants, not even pizza places.
Mm-hmm.
That really resonated with us as a brand because we have those challenges every day about those huge fees and commissions and all with the other third-party providers. So y'all have your own delivery mechanism, so obviously you don't have to rely on them as much as some of the rest of us do. But what was the reaction to that from those third-party platforms? Was there any blowback to the Domino's brand, and just kind of how did you see that play out nationally? Because it certainly got our attention as a smaller brand.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was part of that surprise freeze campaign that we launched, and it was actually multi-level. So the top level for our customers was, leaning against the surprise fees that people get and really highlighting, that, and then leaning into frees that we could give them and to supplement. But then secondly, it was our franchisees launched an activity of supporting local mom and pop restaurants in their communities and buying gift cards from those stores and those restaurants to give to our customers to help support direct purchase, right? I do think that this is kind of an interesting area, and it's continuing to evolve, and you hear this from other brands like Panera, where you can actually get a cheaper delivery cost if you order direct through them, right? And so that conversation is now, I think, more relevant in our space, in the QSR and restaurant space, of understanding the roles and responsibilities of our distribution systems, right? What are we gaining through direct, and what are we actually gaining through other solutions? I wouldn't say that there was necessarily direct backlash to Domino's, but it definitely stirred up a conversation that I think was completely relevant, and especially through the pandemic as these platforms have grown and have grown their adoption. I mean, it's still, I think, a relevant conversation for customers now.
We're here.
Hi, Jeff Alderman from Ad Media. Great to see Detroit represented with innovation and style. Same thing kind of on the surprise and delight campaign, right, and the random acts of kindness, right? I see a lot of parallels between QSR, and we were just out last month at the Travel Summit, right, with the aggregators or OTAs there. Just kind of curious, right, from your perspective, obviously there's a relationship directly between the customer, but then also with the franchisees and the customers as well. Obviously the battle for profitability, but also for data, for engagement. So again, the free campaign is fantastic. Do you see that kind of coming back in the future at some point?
I'm not sure if it will, but I do think, because again, the relevancy of that conversation, it will continue to modulate and become something new and different. I come from the travel sector, so before Domino's, I was in the travel space for 8 years. And went head to head with the Expedias, Booking.coms of the world, and understood, the allowance or acceptance of purchase of your product through those third parties built new relationships. And we had to understand what was our role with the relationship that we had and the relationship that they had with these third parties. And so it was very intentional what we would do from a marketing standpoint to continue to reinforce and build those relationships. And I think that the travel industry provides a great proxy for the future of the restaurant space. And I think we should continue to lean in on the learnings from travel, from advertising, from paid placements, all of those things, to really understand what the future of the travel space is going to look like.
Over here.
Hey, thank you. Morning. Stephen Clark here from Golden Crust Caribbean Restaurant. Morning, Christopher. Well done.
Morning.
And I agree. Sharp suit. So you made mention of, the early stages, pioneers in delivery, 1960, if I'm correct. And I just want to know, I've studied your brand, where we have 20 restaurants in 8 states, so we're coming up. You need aspirational targets. I remember, I think it was a QSR article in 2018 where you guys said you were no longer a pizza company, but a tech company that happens to sell pizza. I thought that was very nifty. With the progress that you've made, what are you seeing from a balance perspective as it pertains to off-premise with these third-party aggregators versus your, original model from 1960 as a pioneer as a delivery? Are you seeing more Domino's delivery, or are you seeing more of the other guys, the big three, so to speak?
Yeah,
What's
so
that split?
At Domino's, we actually don't use a third-party delivery service. We deliver all of our products. And so that's important for us to have full relationship with our customers from beginning to end. And so that's been kind of an intentional choice for our brand. And not within the Domino's US system, they don't. No, but internationally, it's a different story, right? Because the dynamics of some of our international markets are different. Like China, anyone that's in China, aggregators rule in China. You really can't have e-commerce without those solutions. And so it really just depends on the dynamics of both the market as well as the strength of the brand in those markets. And so for us right now, we do everything ourselves.
Thank
Morning.
you. I didn't know if this is this on? Thank you, appreciate it. I'm Holly, I'm with Figaro's Pizza. We're a small little chain out of Oregon. I love watching Domino's. You're doing a great job and all your team. My question is, what kind of kickback do you get with your franchisees? I'm sure it doesn't happen very often, but once in a while, when you give out a bunch of freebies, what are you guys doing for that? And how do you guys communicate and say, hey, you guys, this is best for you. We're gonna, you understand what I'm asking, but what kind of kickback and how do you take care of it?
Oh, we definitely get the kickback. My back. So there are definitely conversations that we have to have with our franchisees against these major campaigns. And we have, as probably most franchise organizations, a marketing advisory board. And that board is there to kind of approve the activities and campaigns that we're running. And we have to come to them and prove the value of what it is that we're doing, right? And so they're not always just on board with whatever we say. However, I will say that because of the fact that we've been data focused and been able to show the results with every campaign that we've ran, that we've built a strong relationship and level of trust with our franchisee system where they are more accepting when we say, let's give out free points to everybody that orders pizza, right? And they're like, what? Because they understand that there's an ultimate value that we're chasing, and it's something that we've actually are leveraging data to help get us there. And so I think that is what is been very unique for us, is that we have a system that's willing to take risks because of the fact that we've built that relationship and proof points with them over the years.
CTM, let me wrap with one question about testing.
Yes.
Since you have all of these innovation programs, and I know from talking to you in the past, you have a fairly developed testing program where you are testing these out. Tell us a little bit about how you determine what works and what doesn't work, what the red flags are, and how many things do you put into test that actually never make it into market?
Oh yeah, there's a ton of items that we test that never see the light of day on the digital front, from a product front, from just an innovation of experience front. And so we test a lot of things and with a lot of rigor. And even if you talk about media, right, and Snaps here, they know firsthand that we're really aggressive when we're looking at lift testing to understand the incremental influence of activities that we do. So we really lean in on iROAS versus just ROAS, right? We're looking at incremental return on ad spend. We're looking on incrementality of what it does from a margin and revenue standpoint when we're looking at tests online. So we're looking at true incrementality across the full gamut of everything that we're doing to really be able to justify the changes that we're making, that they're not just cannibalizing other sales, but driving incremental sales and productivity for the business. And so having a lift method for testing media, having lift methods for testing e-commerce experiences, it really tells the story for us. So we're not making gut decisions. Some of the biggest tests that I thought were going to be the biggest winners were the biggest failures. And we accept that and we learn from that. But everything that we do has to have some level of incrementality to the business, or else we just don't do it.
Do you usually start testing at a very small scale and then expand it outwards and work that way? Do you have particular regions that you usually test in that are reliable and give you good indicators?
Yeah, so luckily we have a network of company-owned stores. And so especially as we think of in-store experience testing, we usually lean there for a lot of our testing. But as we think of digital testing, be it media, be it e-commerce, those are done nationally. They're not done within specific, regions. We really get to critical mass really quickly because we leverage the entire scale of the business to do those tests.
CTM, welcome back. Glad to have you live at last. We last saw you virtually. CTM, that was great.